Hi guys, it's story time again. And today I'm going to share with you a miracle secret about customer service. And the secret is that you don't have to agree with someone in order to acknowledge and validate what they are experiencing. When you give them space to feel their feelings, then you actually open the door for them to fix the problem, even if they themselves are the cause of it. It's usually easy and instinctual to do this when someone has been the victim of another person's mistake or they're suffering because of someone else's choice. It's a lot harder when they are very clearly in the wrong. Not that that ever happens in our courses, right? Here's a story that I have to share. Several years ago, one of my tutors came into my office and he was very upset and emotional, which was totally unlike him. He told me that shortly before, a student had become quite angry with him and had begun shouting and swearing at him before she started hurling racial insults at him and storming out of the lab where he was working. Her final shot hollered from the door was that she was on her way to the dean's office to file a formal complaint about him. Now, this was one of the most patient, kind, calm-mannered employees I've ever had the pleasure of working with, and so I couldn't imagine that he had done anything to deserve what she dished out. In fact, to his credit, he was most upset that he hadn't actually been able to help her, and he was worried that she didn't get the help that she needed for her assignment. Within seconds of his leaving my office, an irate young woman stormed in, followed by one of my receptionists who was saying, wait, let me see if she's available. And let me be clear here, my plan was to inform her of all the ways that she had violated the student code of conduct, tell her that she was now banned from using our services, and she couldn't set foot in any of our labs or centers again, escort her out the door, calling campus security if I needed to, and then write up the entire thing and send it to the Dean of Student Life. And let me also be clear that I was completely justified in that course of action, and I was completely in the right by planning to do that. I opened my mouth to say those exact things, and right then that pesky little voice in my head reminded me that I always preach to my employees about the power of listening to understand people and acknowledging the other person's experience. And so what came out of my mouth instead was, why don't you have a seat and tell me about it? And then I listened and listened. And I don't think I said more than, and that sounds hard. While she poured out all her frustrations with the class, the semester, the university, personal challenges in her life, and finally, her fear that she just wasn't up to the task of earning a degree and maybe this whole university thing was beyond her. It took a little while, but she finally ran out of steam. Her body relaxed, her posture was more open, and that loud, angry girl who had barged into my office was now a humble, scared student who just needed help. We talked about some resources that were available for her for the different challenges that she was facing. She asked for and received a referral for counseling, as she acknowledged that her inability to control her anger frightened even her. I made that first appointment for her right then from my office phone. Toward the end, she squared up her shoulders and looked like a huge weight had just been lifted, and she said, okay, I need to start fixing things now. I think I owe that tutor a big apology. I'm going to do that first. And off she went. And I admit, I followed to make sure that it actually happened, and she did apologize very sincerely and humbly. And the tutor told me that she came in every week the rest of the semester and was a model student and always very appreciative of the help that she received. The lesson I learned and the miracle that I observed that day was that when you withhold judgment and you express empathy for other people, even when they don't deserve it, you open the door for true change to occur. None of us want to change when we feel misunderstood, unaccepted, or wrongly judged, even if we are the problem. But most of us are at least willing to entertain the possibility of being wrong when we feel understood, cared for, and validated. One of my favorite quotes says that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. We may sometimes have to be the bearer of bad news, or tell students or their parents things that they don't want to hear. But we can always do it with respect, with kindness, and with understanding, even when, or especially when, we don't agree. And it's been my experience over and over and over again that even in the most difficult of circumstances and situations, we can still allow that person to walk away feeling respected and valued and heard. And that's what I hope that you'll do for our students.